This is my audience. All right. Did you know that there are 200 different types of mental illnesses? And currently there are 44 million Americans struggling with a mental illness. If you or someone you know is struggling with a mental illness, such as depression, anxiety, eating disorders, PTSD, a disability, or even stress, art may be something that you want to look into. For me personally, I've always been an art creator, and I've experienced my own emotions when creating art and when I'm not creating art. But in this subject, I wanted to get more knowledge. I decided to do more research on how art was helping other people express their mental health as well. Art is a very great way to boost your mental health and needs to be a more relevant source to help others. Through art, you are able to improve mental disorders through exposure of expression, being able to perceive different artworks and what they mean to you through art therapy. Before we get into what art therapy is, let's talk about how just simply creating something, you are able to express yourself. Through being able to express yourself, you are already boosting your mental health. With expressing yourself, you will see an increase of self-esteem. In a study done by Claire Christine, she took a group of students who had never really been exposed to art. She challenged them to express themselves in their art. Those students reflected on their artworks and said that they saw a reflection of themselves. They also said that it inspired them to feel more strongly about their self-value. She continued on by saying that art can provide connections to identity and self-perception. Art is not all about what you make, but it's about the feelings that you make while making it. This is exactly what those students were doing. In a study done by Mary Ann Cohen, in the article called Creativity and Recovery, she talks about self-discovery. Self-discovery is the acknowledgement and recognition of feelings that have been lurking in your subconscious. This is exactly what Claire's students were feeling. Although being able to create art is a great thing, it is also very important to be able to perceive art. When you perceive art, you will find a change in mood. I saw this in a TED Talk done by Katrina Gregos. She was talking about how one can never predict how art will affect people, change problems in minds, on the influence their behavior. It is a subtle power that changes the world 1% at a time. Although in this, she is talking about how art affects one person and then goes on to affect the whole world, I am mainly focusing on how that will affect that one person. It's all about how that one person is interpreting that piece of art. In another article called 5 Positive Effects of Art, Nina Ralph is talking about how there's a mental transformation just by looking at a piece of art. She says that this mental transformation experience has a physical impact on our well-being. The experience of looking can be interactive, sensory, cognitive, emotional, or even spiritual. Now that we've talked about creating art and perceiving art, I wanted to show you a more professional way of going about art. It's called art therapy. Art therapy is an assisted way to get new emotions out and learn more about yourself. In art therapy, patients will let out their struggles of life in a safe environment. This is done in another study with students done by Griha Kamel. In this study, she took students who had a very hard background. These students were said to create socially inappropriate objects. She then continued to say that they visually represented their family challenges and developmental issues. She continued on by saying that with the safe and nonverbal environment of art therapy, this will help the students make an adaptive choices going into adulthood. Although in this example, she was talking about how art can affect those that are just having struggles getting their emotions out. It also is helping those who physically cannot get their emotions out. This was originally done with veterans. That is where art therapy comes from. In the same article, she states that art therapy was to serve the needs of veterans from World War I and II, and those who suffered from PTSD. She also addressed that it was for the development of adolescents with special needs. Now that we have talked about how art therapy can improve your mental health, let's conclude. Art therapy has a great impact and needs to be a more relevant source to get help. Art plays a major impact on mental disabilities, such as being able to expose to self-expression, be able to perceive art, and through art therapy. So if you or someone you know is struggling with a mental illness or even just stress, take just 45 minutes out of your day to have a creative space, let your mind go free, or look into art therapy as a form of treatment.